What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Let me get to the spot. Hey, good morning, everybody. What is going on? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. And I apologize, I'm a little bit late. I usually try to either get going right at 6:30, because I know some people use my walk and talks as their commute. So I'm a little bit late today, but I did get up and get my insanity workout in, day number 40. So body's looking good, body's feeling good. And so I usually take a little walk afterwards through the neighborhood and just to kind of cool down and share some of my thoughts with you guys. All right. Well, today, as you can see the title, Real Haters. Because, or I guess I'll just say, how did I come up with that title today? And this is a title that's been in the works for a long time. Because I see this on social media, on every platform. Whether it's Snapchat, whether it's TikTok, Instagram. Let's see, what is that? Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. You name it. Whatever platform you got going on right now. I see this universal symbol of people throwing their middle finger up. This is for my haters. I know a guy that spent some time in prison. He actually wrote a book, and there was like a little movie that was made kind of on his life. It says, "Haters make you famous." And he's taken that and made himself a couple of businesses and a second career, from when he got out of prison. I actually was on his show called Convicted Creations, where I went on there and used some of my prison skills, and I made some prison tamales, and they were really good. You don't want to eat them too much salt. Pasta is in there, and just the processed ramen noodles and that cheese spread. It is absolutely disgusting to eat it if you don't have to. But who is that? Who's that on there? Reveal yourself. I see your little thumbnail in the corner, but I can't see who it is because it's small. But if you just type in to say who you are, then I'll give you a little shout out. Oh, what's up, Melvin? How you doing, brother? Down here in Arizona, I'm chilling. Good to see you. Hope everything's going well with you and your family. But all right, let's get back to the topic. Real haters. Now, first and foremost, I want to start out by saying most people, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I believe, do not have haters. It's really just this manufactured mindset that, try to get yourself motivated. Like somebody is actually hating on what you are doing or your life. And for the most part, probably 98% of us, and I'll go is slightly higher than that. 98% of us, we ain't doing shit that anybody would even be wanting, that anybody would even want to hate on. So we're throwing our thumbs up in the air and we're like, I got some haters. Nowadays, people are going, okay, they put some crap up on social media and somebody disagrees with it, not hating on it. They just disagree with your position. Oh, you're a hater. No, that's just called a disagreement. I don't agree with what you're saying. I'm going to post my position. That's it. Back in the day when I grew up, that was called a disagreement. Now, somebody will go online and start throwing fingers up and say, oh, fuck my haters. Ain't nobody hating on you. So, I said there are people out there with legitimate, real haters. And either way, whether you got fake ones that you done made up, or you've got real legitimate haters, in the end, who gives a shit? Nobody cares. It's what you do with that. Because again, if you got legitimate haters, and in most cases, if you have legitimate haters, you are probably doing something well. But as I said before, 98% of us ain't got haters. We done made up some shit. We ain't doing shit. And we're sitting out here and we're on social media throwing our middle fingers up in the air. Fuck my haters. And you ain't doing shit. If I was to come and visit you, you probably live in a damn box. You know what I'm saying? You work some raggedy fast food place. You know what I'm saying? Or you live in your mama's basement or some bullshit like that. Ain't nobody hating on that. You are sitting over here saying this nonsense to try to make yourself feel better. And you do. You feel better when you see the video and then you see some likes. Because everybody think, oh, yeah, they hating on them. Well, what are they hating on? They ain't hating on nothing. You just doing that because instead of actually doing the work to actually have somebody legitimately hating on you, you would rather just, create this fake scenario that somebody is hating on shit you ain't doing. All right. Now, with that said, to kind of set the tone for why I call this walk and talk real haters, is I actually have a real hater. And this has been going on. Think about this. This is how long this has been going on. This is 2021. This person has been hating on me since, let's say, 1991. Think about that. Think how long that is. And this person is still in that hateful mode. And I feel bad for him. So I got to give you a little context of why I know this person is hating. Okay. And I'll give you a little context as far as my understanding of hating is, and I'll say this first. I told my kids that that is a complete waste of time to be hating on anybody. And my kids were kind of looking at me like, why? Especially my daughter. Because girls can be ruthless. Ruthless. And so my daughter tends to be a little bit of that ruthless category. Girls will just be terrible to one another. And so I told her, as I told my son, I said, it is an absolute waste of time to be hating on somebody, wishing the worst on them. I said, you know why? Because what if they become successful? What if they start doing something that is very positive, very productive? What if they do something, create something, design something where they get a lot of fame and they start making a lot of money and they start just getting a lot of popularity? What are you going to do? What is the person that's going to be hating on that person do? That's going to drive you insane. You're going to be sitting over here just constantly hating on somebody, and that person ain't even thinking about you. And they're sitting over here having all kind of success, and you are just hating on everything that they do. And I said, that'll piss you off. So I told them, I said, I don't hate on anybody. I may get competitive and I see somebody doing something successful, being successful. It makes me turn internally and try to step my game up. That's the way that I look at it. So I told them, don't spend any time hating on anybody and what they're doing. I said, what you do is you turn around and you try to get your shit together. And as far as them, what you do is you become their biggest cheerleader, because it can only get better from there. If you are wishing the best on someone else, you aren't spending any time worried about their success. You're actually happy for them. And if anything, maybe go up to them and say, hey, if you know them, hey, how'd you do that? Hey, could I shadow you for a little bit? Or could I sit down with you? Could I buy you some lunch to see, how did you get to this level of success? That's how you do it. I do that all the time. Somebody will say something, somebody will do something, and I'll reach out to them and I'll say, hey, like I reached out to this lady on Facebook. She mentioned that she had done a talk on diversity and how companies are, basically spending money, and it's a big old thing. I'm not a big fan of it, but companies are starting to do diversity, equity, inclusion. And I'm sitting over here going, how does that work? So I was interested in how does somebody who is teaching a workshop on diversity, equity, and I'm like, when I think of equity, I think of me having part ownership of this damn business. I'm not thinking of just, treat me equally. I go do that in my own business. I don't need that shit. So I wanted to know, or wanted to hear, how this person was talking about that in the kind of the corporate setting. How does a corporation see diversity, equity, and inclusion? What the hell does that mean? So you see what I'm saying? That's somebody doing something, and I'm not hating on them. I'm saying, hey, how can I learn something from them? And I'm like, hey, great. If you're doing all these diversity things, great. I hope you get a million opportunities to travel around the country, do some speaking, make all kind of money. I'm happy for you. I'm not hating on you. All right. So back to my situation. Okay. So my thing is kind of giving some more context of what I feel is when somebody's hating is, to me, is if somebody is doing something and doing something well, and you are looking at them as if they didn't earn it, okay, or they don't deserve it. Those are my two criteria. If you're hating on somebody, it's either you believe that they did not earn it, they did not deserve it. Okay, you believe that they didn't put in the work, you believe it was just blind luck, or you think that this person just does not deserve that opportunity. Okay, so that's how I look at that. And another twist to that is that when you become successful, many of the haters are okay with you struggling, but the minute that you actually become successful, it throws a monkey wrench in the narrative that they had in their head for you, maybe a particular race. So now they're going, oh, wait a minute, you can't be doing that, because my vision of you, or people that look like you, or your people, or your culture doesn't deserve that. There has to be some sort of intervention from some other entity for you to be where you are. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of my definition, my context of how people that are really truly haters. All right. So in my situation, here's how it started. I was playing professional baseball, and I had moved down to Arizona to start my rehab. I had injured my arm. I had had 2 surgeries. So growing up in Chicago, living in the Chicagoland area in the off season, there was no place for me to do the type of workout that I needed to do to get my arm back in shape for the upcoming season. So I told the Chicago Cubs that I was going to move down to Arizona. Excuse me. I was going to move down to Arizona, and I was going to start working out down there. And so the Cubs were nice enough. I mean, we had spring training down there, but I didn't know that they had these other connections to rehab facilities. So they said, hey, we're going to connect you with this physical therapy company. It was called Baxter Physical Therapy. Shout out to Baxter Physical Therapy. And I could still remember the name, Anthony Prochnow. That was my physical therapist. Shout out to Anthony. He's probably got his own thing. He's probably some millionaire physical therapist and everything, but he was a really good, knowledgeable dude. He really helped me out. But I moved down to Arizona, to start my rehab. Okay, so I'm down here, and in the off season, my ex, who, was my fiance at the time, she was like, you are not going to sit over here on your behind and just do nothing in the off season. I was like, what you talking about? Shoot, I'm trying to do my thing. She said, nope, you're going to get yourself a job. So I was like, a job? So I start working at, it's a resort now. It's called the Arizona Grand. Big ballrooms. They have big, massive events. But when I was working there, they were called the Point at South Mountain. So I'm working there, and I run into this dude. And this is one of them white dudes that loved hanging around with black dudes. So every time he would come in, what's up, man? How you doing? What's going on? What's cracking? All this other stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. What's up, man? How you doing? And so I really didn't hang around with him, but the crew of people that he hung around with was a bunch of black dudes from another property, because the property that I worked at was the big, what they call the big property, the number one. And so anytime that there were events that were so big that they needed to bring in other staff, they would either send us to another property where I would see him, or they would send staff from the other property down to our property to fill in, and then I would see him that way. And so over time, I got to know him, learned that he was a student at ASU. He played high school baseball, high school football. He liked hockey. He was from the Midwest, so we kind of just talked in passing on different things. And so I kept working during the off season, and then I stopped. Then my career ended, and I still kept working at this resort. And then over time, I got to know him. I stopped playing, and so he's still going to school. I went back to school, and he and I became friends. Now let's go back. Let's rewind that just for a second. Now, while we were working at the resort as a single man, I'm not married, okay? So I'm a single man, ball player. And you know what ball players do when they're single for the most part. Most of the married guys, contrary to popular belief, most of the married guys that play professional baseball are good. They're not sleeping around. It's the single guys that do. All right? And you should. You're single. You got money in your pocket. Go ahead. Do your thing. All right. So while I was working at the resort, man, I was running through those girls like you would not believe, because they had a bunch of different staff. I don't care what departments that, there was waitresses, there was staff, and boy, I was running through them girls left and right. And one of those girls, I'll just say her initials were TW. I'm not going to throw on blast. I was running all up through her. All right. Cute little girl. And, my phone is giving me a little update. All right. So running through this girl, and everybody knew. And so I go off to play my last season of ball. And then I come back after the season, because I still think I might play for another year or so. But I come back in the off season, and what do I see? This dude is dating this girl. And so he has a softball team. So he asked me, hey, you want to come out and play softball? Now, I didn't know that they were dating. And when he asked me to play softball, if I had known they were dating, I may not have showed up. But he asked me to come to play softball. Okay, so I come and I play softball with him. I see her, and I see him treating her like crap. I was like, damn, it's like that, huh? Yelling at her and all this other stuff. And I was like, damn, dude, is that how you roll with your women? You treat them like that? And I'm looking at her. I'm like, hey, TW, why are you letting this dude talk to you like that? And I'm like, I ain't talking to you like that. I was like, we just handled our business and we went moving, So So I see how he's moving, and he's moving along this line. He becomes successful. Wait a minute, he graduates from college, then he becomes successful doing insurance, and then he goes out on his own. He opens up a glass company, and so he's doing well. And then now he took that glass company and then ended up investing into the cannabis industry. So as of right now, this person is doing very well, very successful. But now let's take it back a little bit. During that process of me retiring from ball, coming back, playing with him in softball, my life was spiraling out of control. So I'm getting in all kinds of trouble. So I end up going to prison. So when I go to prison and I get out, I'm now in a whole different state of mind. I'm struggling. So I'm reaching out to old friends and everything, and not asking for favors, but just trying to reconnect myself. And one of the things I did was I reached out to him, and I was in a real dysfunctional relationship with my kid's mom. And I remember him being very, very helpful during that time. I'm giving him his due. He was helpful in that time. My kid's mom cut me. My kid's mom, you see, I don't get off in too many of them stories. My kid's mom, in one time I was leaving the house, she shattered my windshield. So it was some crazy times. So he was around. I was able to reach out to him, get the window repaired and all that stuff. But I noticed that he was supportive while I was struggling, while it looked like I wasn't going to do anything, that I was going to be in that very stereotypical life, which is, not, just the stereotypical life we see on people on shows and stuff, black, poor, or just kind of an unorganized life. And that's exactly what it looked like. But underneath and behind all that stuff, what was going on was I was taking classes, I was going to school, I was reading, and I was doing the necessary things to move myself out of that. Now, on the surface, you don't see that. So what I noticed is that, he was there. He was, and I didn't reach out to him all the time, or on occasion we would just, run into each other. But I just noticed that just this change and this shift as I started accumulating different things and my life started going into a more positive direction. Then now we have this separation where we kind of go our own separate ways. And now as we reconnect again, it's like, hey, what's going on, man? What's going on with you? I'm like, oh yeah, things are good. I went back, finished school. I got my degree. Now I work in corporate America. It's like, okay, cool. And so now this is where technology is coming in. So now we've got our cell phones, and so we don't necessarily meet for lunch or do anything, special or anything like that. We're just kind of catching up with each other. He gets married. He's got kids. So our lives, I have children. And so now we've got these responsibilities, but my life is dramatically changed. I'm not that brother digging himself out of this hole. I'm the individual now that actually has moved out of the corporate space, and I've become a business owner like him. I have a tax office, and now that tax office has grown substantially. Now I own a smoke shop. And so our interactions, very rarely do we get together. But what I'm noticing is that I believe he held on to that feeling of knowing that this girl that he had dated. I think he found out late. Well, no, he did. He knew that before I had relations with her. And I know some people that really sours them on that when they know, especially a white dude, when they know a brother has been with the girl that they're currently with or had been or whatever. And that's something that you can never erase. So there must have been something that went on with them. But let me fast forward to what's going on now. To just fast forward and just stay on the topic of real haters. Okay, and I always get on here and get a little long-winded when I really don't want to. But here's the deal. Now, some of the text messages that I get from him are where they're not pointing at me because he can no longer attack me. I'm a successful business person. I've reinvented myself. I actually have a book out, so I'm an author. I mean, there's a lot of things that I have done that I'm no longer in that category. So there's nothing that you can really poke at. So what people do, and the word is like proxy, what they do is I will then point at something or a community that you're perceived to be part of. Like the one community that I am a part of, that's no getting away from, and not say that I want to, it's the black community. I'm black all day long. So you can send me a text message pointing out something that appears to be wrong with the black community, and that indirectly is pointing at you. And I consistently get these text messages from him. And the thing about it is, it's very similar to how I conduct my Facebook page. I never delete anybody off the page because it shows my audience who's on my page. Because at some point in time, if you're engaged on my page, you're going to show where you stand on just about every issue. Because I don't make my page out to be some social media page. I'm either just kind of posting something, my thoughts, and it leaves enough space where people could come in and say whatever they want to. But usually it leaves enough space where you can see where somebody stands on different things. And so what I've been getting over the past, ever since I've gotten my hands around my life and turned it all around, consistently I get these text messages. For instance, just the other day there was a high school player, and just now listen to this. See how demonic this is. There was a high school football player, 16-year-old black kid, 6'4", 300 pounds. That's a big kid. That's somebody that if he's athletic enough, he's going to end up going on to play Division I football somewhere. But the kid ends up having a heart attack. Sad. Average 16-year-old kids shouldn't be that big, but a lot of these kids are eating and, getting them, taking themselves through programs that are, they're trying to get to the next level. They're trying to compete, hopefully get onto the NFL. But there is a danger to that, is that you just may not have the body type to take on that type of weight. So this player dies in practice. And so I get this text message that shows, the article. And I'm looking at the article and I'm going, what's the point of this? And so if in response to that, it seems as though this is something, hey, we've got an obesity problem. But unfortunately, if this happened to a white person, I wouldn't get the text message. Never do I get the text message when there are things going on in the country that have to do with the white population. The opioid problem, I've never gotten a text message about that. But this person goes out of their way to send me stuff that has to do with the challenges that are facing, because obesity is not a problem that's just facing the black community. But if something like that happens, he sends it, it's a black player. It's a black person. So I'm going to send him this text message to go, man, this is bad. This is the problem. I'm going, well, I'm sure this happens to white players, but it's just never talked about. So that's what I talk about when I say there are real people out there that are being real haters. And I look at that, and again, like I tell my kids, that has a lot to do with the fact that I'm not in that space, and there is something there where this individual feels some kind of way. And I always look at that and I just go, what a waste of time that you would focus on trying to either make this person feel bad or try to cast dispersions on their community. And I go, most of the time, if you see some posts by me on social media, it is a reaction to what I'm seeing out there. And now I'm kind of countering the narrative to put things correctly, as opposed to it being an attack where you're on the offensive and you're responding to just your feelings. So I'm going to go ahead and spit something out there to try to create a narrative. And so as I say that, and as I finish up this long walk and talk, as I want to close with that, is there's way too much focus there's way too much focus on what someone else is doing or what someone else is creating. Now, in most cases, if you are so busy trying to create something, you don't have time to either respond to the haters or you just don't care about them because you're so busy focusing on what you're trying to create in your space. And I say that if you are in one of those two spaces that you don't care, even though you can go look through the feedback of haters and you could find good stories or good things, like this is what I'm doing. I'm taking somebody who is truly a hater and I'm actually taking that and to show a point that, I don't spend time on that. I actually respond back jokingly to that because I'm going, there's no point that we can have a serious conversation because there's something set in his mind where he believes that this is good for him. And the thing is, what probably hits him at his core is all these things he's sending out. On top of that, he knows I'm still very successful. I'm a successful business owner. I'm a successful author. I'm just now a successful person. And so I'll say it again. There's far too many things that you can focus on as far as trying to get yourself in the best possible position, as opposed to focusing on, pointing out shortcomings in other people. And if you do that, if you stay in that space, to me, you are absolutely on your path to planning your greatness. All right? Well, this is Friday. You guys, I hope you have a good weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any shows over the weekend. If you miss my live, if you're just kind of catching the end of it and you want to see the whole thing, this one's a little long. It's going to get uploaded on my page, but more specifically, it's going to be on my channel, Plan Your Greatness TV. Each one of my lives, I upload it, so it's usually uploaded sometime later on in the day. Once it clears, it gets uploaded in the HD format, so it's nice and crisp and clear sound and the pixels and all that other good stuff. So make sure that you get over there, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, follow me. There's probably 300 and something videos over there on all different types of topics, some short ones, some long ones, just whatever that, you might need a little something to kind of get you going. You have a little commute somewhere, you want to hear something about life. All right. Well, I'm going to leave you guys with this, as I always do. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see you all next time.